Hey all, welcome back to Exile Wargaming today, and as always, we're going to be talking about winning with Harlequins in competitive 10th edition Warhammer 40k with a battle report against Salamanders in the Firestorm detachment. Now, this will be the last game that we will be playing in Leviathan. These are the results of a round robin I was in the other day. We played against Chaos Space Marines, we played against Salamanders, and we're going to see how it rolls out. Now, the list we're going to be running today is a true Harlequins list. We are not bringing in much from the Eldari Codex. Again, no D-Cannons, no Falcons, anything like that. It is pure Harlequins with one exception, and that is adding Yvraine and the Vizarch. So we have a Solitaire, a Death Jester with Fate's Messenger, 3 Troop Masters, Yvraine, the Vizarch, both attached to an 11-man unit of troops with 4 fusion pistols and 4 neural disruptors. We have 4 units of 5-man troops with fusion pistols and neural disruptors. We are using 4 Star Weavers, 4 Sky Weavers with Star Bolus and 1 big unit, and then 2 units of 2 Sky Weavers with Zephyr Glaives. Beyond this, to round out the list, we are utilizing, again, one of the most inefficient units in the Codex, and that is 2 Void Weavers with Prismatic Cannons. Now, we are coming in at 16 total units at 1,990 points. Now, our opponent is bringing the heat, pun intended, with Salamanders. They have Adrax Agatone, a Captain in Gravis armor with Adamantine Mantle. I don't even know what that does. I don't think it became relevant in this game. Also, a Lieutenant and Vulcan Heastan. Now, Adrax and the Lieutenant are attached to a unit of 6 Blade Guard veterans, and they will be inside of a Land Raider Redeemer. Beyond this, there is an Aggressor squad with Flamestorm gauntlets attached to the Captain and Gravis armor and another Land Raider Redeemer. We have 2 units of Eradicators with Multi-Melta and Melta rifles, 2 units of Inceptors with Assault Bolters, a 5-man squad of Infernus Marines, and a 5-man squad of Infiltrators. Vulcan will be attached to the Infernus squad inside a repulsor. This is 11 total units coming in at 2,000 points on the nose. Now, we'll be playing on GW Terrain Layout 1, and it'll be Mission A, which is Take and Hold, Chilling Reign, and Search and Destroy style deployment. Digging into deployment, this part's pretty easy for us. We have 12 drops and our opponent has 4. As you can see on this bottom portion of the board, our opponent had an Impulsor with Vulcan and a unit of Infernus Marines. We have 2 Land Raider Redeemers, one with the unit of Aggressors down at the bottom. The other has Adrax, the Lieutenant, the Blade Guard Vets, and a 3-man unit of Eradicators. The only other drop they had was this Infiltrator squad on their backfield. Now, what we did to kind of counteract this is deploy as far away as we could while still being able to get into engagement range and our objectives on the first turn, but while also not allowing them to crash into our lines very quickly. So we place some nonsense around our home field objectives, see what they're doing, and then we get to go wherever we want. This is one of the advantages of playing an army with a lot of deployment. So we end up utilizing the same standard synergy we always do. We have a Void Weaver, Sky Weavers, Star Weavers up here. This does have a Troop Master inside of it. We have Yvraine's unit pulled back just a little bit. They could have staged a little bit closer towards this rune, but I was afraid if this Redeemer came up, they would be just in range of the aggressors. And they can also get charged very easily turn 1 with Adrax unit. Anything coming out of these Land Raider Redeemers can disembark and charge in the same turn. So the Redeemer can end up moving up 12 if they get first turn, and they have a very easy charge afterwards, which is okay, but I don't want to take too many casualties right up front. I do not believe this unit here is enough to be able to drop all of the Blade Guard vets and Adrax and the Lieutenant before they get struck back. And it only takes a few Blade Guard to bring down a good number of our troops anyway. So we end up placing this unit a little bit further back. If we end up getting the first turn, we'll move them up into the rune. And then really this Star Weaver is kind of the star of the show. If our opponent decides they want to get behind our lines and charge this unit first turn, that is excellent. We are positioned and spaced out enough that they will bring this down and they will kill everything inside, but they will not be able to tag anything else afterwards. Then our entire army can just crash on this objective. If we want to move our Sky Weavers out to tag the Land Raider, if we want to use our Void Weavers, we have the Death Jester who's actually positioned up here. We can absolutely do that, and then use your Vrain's unit fighting grenades, her shooting, to destroy the Blade Guard Vet Squad afterwards. So this unit here, if we do not get first turn, is just kind of here as bait. If we do get first turn, the game plan is to utilize it to move block this entire section of the board and give us a few extra turns to deal with some more difficult units afterwards. So if our opponent doesn't take the bait, that's still fine. We can utilize this unit to move block afterwards. Whatever it is, this Sky Weaver is crucial. There was no Troop Master in it, though. We have another big unit of Sky Weavers back here. I learned my lesson in my game against Gas Space Marines, and I do not want to get this in range of anything too impactful too quickly. We have the absolute best profile, I believe, in the game against Land Raiders, and keeping them protected is a huge swing for us. So again, just symmetry: Star Weavers, Sky Weavers, Void Weavers. We have Star Weavers, Sky Weavers, and Void Weavers on this flank as well. Our goal is to just push down towards this objective, give them something to deal with on this objective, and then crash our force wherever else they go throughout the remainder of this game. So we win the dice roll and get to go first. We end up moving the Star Weaver that was originally in this rune right up front and begin that move block. He does not Overwatch and decides later to use Smoke. So giving everyone -1 to hit is a pretty big deal for this Land Raider right now. Let's see if it survives. We move the Star Weaver, the Void Weaver, and the Sky Weavers that were positioned up here towards the center, touching the terrain, so we could shoot through and get to this Land Raider Redeemer. Everything really tries to put its fire into here and bring it down afterwards. This other unit of Sky Weavers pushes down here, so does the Star Weaver and the Void Weaver in an attempt to bring down this Land Raider Redeemer as well. If we can get them down to 3 or 2 wounds, it puts us in a really good predicament for the following turn. It allows us a guaranteed Overwatch almost with the Sky Weavers themselves. So this does end up putting our opponent in a pretty big predicament right off the bat. So these Sky Weavers ended up firing into this Land Raider Redeemer. They only got 3 wounds through. Smoke is pretty good. This unit of Harlequin troops ended up throwing grenades and firing some fusion pistols. They were just outside of fusion pistol range for one of them. The other one was just inside. And we do a couple other wounds there. The Void Weaver gets 4 wounds through, which is all we can hope for out of that unit. And then this Star Weaver puts in some shots as well. We're able to bring this Land Raider Redeemer down to 4 wounds remaining. Now, this unit of Sky Weavers fires into this Land Raider down here, ends up doing 9 devastating wounds. So that was huge for us. And then the Void Weaver puts another 4 through. So we leave this Land Raider Redeemer at 3 wounds, which is exactly where we wanted to be. In the following turn, if our opponent chooses to move, there's really nowhere to move for this Land Raider. If he does decide to move this at any point in time, it could get Overwatched. So we're in really, really good shape. We also took care to position our Sky Weavers up here outside of the Flamestorm cannon. So if he tries to get in range to make that happen, he is going to get Overwatched as well. We ended up rolling 2 6s, a 5, a 4, a 2, and a 1 on our fate dice, which is very, very good for us at this point in time. Now on our turn 1, we ended up drawing Capture Enemy Outpost and Bring It Down. We ditched Capture Enemy Outpost. We're not going to get that. We get the command point, and we saved Bring It Down. We're going to be able to bring these Land Raiders down. It's pretty much inevitable at this point. Maybe we can score them during our opponent's turn. Our opponent draws Bring It Down as well and Tempting Target. So we use this as the tempting target, try to get our opponents an incentive to come out and grab that, and we'll see where else it goes. He moves the Impulsor up to this top unit with Vulcan and a unit of Infernus Marines. That's a pretty solid space for them. And then we started having the discussions. What's he going to do with these Redeemers? He chooses not to move this Land Raider Redeemer, gets out the Eradicators. They fire into the Star Weaver. They completely annihilate that. Eradicators and the Star Weaver is a very unfair matchup. on our side, the Flamestorm cannons, which are out of range of the Skyweavers, destroy this whole unit of troops very, very easily. And then the Multi-Melta and the Assault Cannon, some other shots end up going into the Skyweavers up here. We make the saves on the Multi-Melta, which was excellent for us, and we bring one of these down to a single wound. The Land Raider down here, really, I don't know what his options were. The only thing he could do is force us away Fate Dice and make us use Command Point and just hope that we roll, ones to wound or something like that. We end up rolling a natural 6. We use a Fate Dice to get another 6, and we do, in fact, end up doing 6 devastating wounds in the Overwatch phase in our opponent's turn. So this Land Raider goes down. These aggressors end up getting out and they move forward. They use their Flamestorm gauntlets to bring down this Star Weaver here. So our opponent will end up getting 5 on bring it down. Otherwise, we're just staging for the next couple turns. In our turn 2, we draw Tempting Target and deploy Teleport Homers. So our opponent chooses this as the Tempting Target. We are not going to get that. We'll discard it for a CP at the end of the turn. And we use the Solitaire to deploy Teleport Homers in the center. Essentially, we just shift our forces up and out to do whatever we can to make this happen. We leave the Skyweavers here. We don't want to get overwatched or anything like that. And then we move this unit of Skyweavers down here over, hoping that we can bait the Overwatch. He doesn't bite for whatever reason, and ends up getting shots into this Land Raider afterwards. The Star Weaver and the Void Weaver up top move towards this objective just to give them something to deal with. As long as we can tie up a unit and keep them where we want, we're in really good shape. And then we utilize the Star Weaver that was positioned over here to just move up and screen out this area so he can't drop directly on our home field objective with Inceptors. Now, the Death Jester is up front on this point. Again, we cannot block out with this base the Inceptors entirely. If they do want to drop down, that's fine. They can take the home field the next turn. But we have 1, 2, 3 on the point. So in worst case scenario, he can drop down behind. They won't get any targets, and we will contest this objective. The Skyweavers down here moved out in an attempt to dig into some of these aggressors down here, and the unit of troops that got out of the Star Weaver that was blown up last turn ended up advancing and just towing on this objective over here. Again, just screening our opponent from our large section of our force as best as we can. A lot of our opponent's units are very, very slow after they drop down. So the goal is to just screen this, hold objectives, force our opponent into areas we want them to be in. In the shooting portion of this, we end up firing with these Skyweavers. We only do 3. Again, these guys are whiffing a lot. And then this unit has to finish them off. This unit of Skyweavers fires into the Eradicators, or I'm sorry, the aggressors down here, and so does the Void Weaver, and we're able to pick up 3 of them. While we're still wounding on 6s, every 6 is a guaranteed dead aggressor because it's devastating wounds. So not too bad. The Skyweavers ended up doing a good bit over here. Beyond this, we fired the Void Weaver up top into this Impulsor. We did 4 wounds. We threw grenades. We did another 4 wounds. We shot fusion pistols, and we did have enough to bring this down. We ended up doing 4 with the Void Weaver, 4 with fusion pistols, and then we ended up getting through another 4 with shuriken cannons. So Vulcan and the unit of Infernus Marines, some of them got out behind this rune. The other were right up front here. He debated overwatching over here and here. I don't know exactly what happened, but this we figured was not going to be enough to bring it down anyway, so that would have been a wasted amount of command points. So we did some pretty good work this turn. We ended up bringing down the other Land Raider Redeemer and the Impulsor and a few of the aggressors. Now, we only had one real choice in the charge phase, and that was to move the Skyweavers into the aggressors and just hope that they survived. Now, we utilized a Fate Dice to make a save and lightning fast reactions, and the Skyweavers were able to survive. These aggressors are pretty good. They get 3 attacks apiece, but now they were hitting on 4s. They're wounding on 2s, but we have that 4-up invuln. We make a couple of them. We end up using the Fate Dice afterwards, and we survive with one of them on 1 wound, which is huge. Now they're not able to move this unit into our Skyweavers or Void Weaver in the back afterwards, or the Harlequin troop that's off to the side. This unit could have been very, very dangerous. We are very fortunate at this point in time. In our opponent's turn two, they try to make something happen, but they're really scattered. They end up drawing storm hostile objectives and behind enemy lines. Now, they're not going to be able to get behind enemy lines, but storm hostile objective is very, very doable. This Skyweaver down here being locked in combat with the aggressors really did change the game. If you can imagine this unit being able to push up, put fire into these Skyweavers, being able to charge into the Void Weaver, or being able to move up and put shots into your range unit ahead of time, it really could have been a major impact on us. But fortunately for us, lightning fast reactions is very good, and so are fate dice. It really did change the dynamic of the game. So he starts dropping down his units from reserves. A unit of Bolt Inceptors drop down over here. They completely wipe this unit of troops. This unit of Inceptors drops down on the objective, so they will hold this and get their secondaries. Two of them end up firing into the Skyweavers. One fires into the Troopmaster. The Troopmaster survives. The Skyweavers take fire from the Eradicators right here and the Inceptors, and they end up losing one and leaving another one at 1 wound. This was the Oath of Moment target. Now up top, the Eradicators dropped in the corner to try to bring down the Starweaver, and then the Infernus Marines pushed out as well. Now this Starweaver ended up making its saves. I think we made 3-4+ saves up here, and he was forced to put the Infernus Marines into it to finish off. It left our troop safe afterwards. Beyond this, our opponent doesn't have much to shoot. The infiltrators stay exactly where they were in the backfield. In our opponent's charge phase, he ends up moving Vulcan into this unit of Harlequin troops with the Infernus Marines. Only 3 of them ended up attacking, and Vulcan himself got a lot of swings. He was stringing out to hold on to this objective afterwards. So the Infernus Marines have 3 attacks apiece at strength 4, 0 AP, 1 damage. But Vulcan has like 5 or 6 attacks at strength 6, -2, 2 damage each. They're able to drop 4 of our Harlequin troop. It leaves just the Troopmaster and the lead player. When they clap back, they end up dropping 2 Infernus Marines, which is really, really good for us. That means the following turn we can shoot 2 fusion pistols, and he will be out of coherency if he removes these ones. So he's going to have to pull himself off of the objective in our shooting phase if we need to. Now in our turn 3, we ended up drawing extend battle lines and no prisoners. So this is 100% our go turn. We need to make things happen. We had only scored 8 points on secondaries coming into this turn. So let's get to work. We end up moving the Void Weaver that was over here onto this objective. If we can kill some Infernus Marines in combat, or we can charge, or whatever we need to do, we will be able to hold that. The way these were positioned was if I fired the fusion pistol with the Troopmaster, we killed 1, we were going to end up taking this. So the Void Weaver moves over to this position. We will get extend battle lines there. He fires into the Eradicators, ends up killing 1. Void Weavers are so swingy, but it's okay because it served its purpose. These Skyweavers ended up moving towards this objective here to just help charge this unit afterwards, and one of them fires a Taywire cannon into the Blade Guard vets, and we are able to bring one down. I don't even think it was a devastating wound. I think he just missed the save, and that was it. We are still wounding these guys on 5s. Yvrane's unit pushed from this rune to the midboard. We did a drive-by on some of the Eradicators. The Starweaver in this terrain fired into the Eradicators as well, and we're able to bring down 2 of them. And then the unit of troops that was positioned up here just moves towards this objective, hoping to get, it looked like an 8-inch charge into the final Eradicator afterwards. If they can make that happen, we will get onto this objective and be able to claim that for next turn and our secondaries. The goal down here was just to try to eliminate as many of these guys as possible, leave the Troopmaster where he is, so if we don't make this charge, we can still get extend battle lines. We do not move the Skyweavers because we don't want them to get overwatched by this unit of Flamestorm aggressors here, so they stay the same. The Void Weaver moves down to get shots in whatever it needs to over here, and the Death Jester moves up to the 2nd floor to get plunging fire wherever else we may need him as well. So this unit of Skyweavers fires into the aggressors. We kill 1 with the Haywire cannons. We kill 2 with the Star Bolus. Star Bolus are a pretty good profile into them. They're hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. They're D3 shots apiece. I think we ended up causing like 5 wounds or 4 wounds, and he missed the saves, so we did some pretty good work there. The Void Weaver ended up killing, I believe, 2 of the Inceptors over here, and then the Death Jester only had 1 guy to shoot afterwards, so they wiped that pretty convincingly. So we will hold this objective on extend battle lines, even if we don't hold this afterwards. Otherwise, we move into the charge phase. So we end up making our charges, and I believe we fire and faded this unit of bikes afterwards. We have 1 CP remaining as we get to it in this portion of the turn. This unit of Harlequin troops makes it into the Eradicator. That was just a good natural roll. They're able to bring that down, so we will get extend battle lines in the center, which is pretty good for us. Your range unit ends up fighting first over here. And we're able to bring down 4 of the Blade Guard vets when they end up swinging back. They bring down 6 of our Harlequin troops. The 5-up Feel No Pain is really good into single damage stuff. The 4-up Invulns were really good as well. But unfortunately, unless you're rolling like 5s and 6s twice for each troop, they are going to fall. So these 2 damage weapons are very, very good into our profile. And then the Solitaire ends up moving into this unit of infiltrators on their backfield. He did blitz this turn. The Vizarch ended up using precision to attack Adrax. Adrax does survive, and he was the one that did a number of wounds afterwards, but we absolutely tried our best. After that combat, our opponent interrupted and attempted to use the infiltrators to bring down the Solitaire. Now, well, I was doing the math in my head, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a little bit dangerous. But we did have a 6 still on our fate dice, and we did have access to lightning fast reactions. I don't remember if we used it in this turn specifically, but I believe we did. The Solitaire ends up surviving on 1 wound, and we bring down the entire infiltrator squad. The Solitaire, again, just leaving a pile of bodies in his wake. Now, on our opponent's turn, he ends up drawing Defend Stronghold and Investigate Signals. He gets rid of Defend Stronghold and ends up pulling Secure No Man's Land. So this unit of Inceptors down here ends up investigating signals. The Gravis Captain moves into the Troop Master. He will get Secure No Man's Land over here as well, as he will up top. So the Eradicators, again, are just such a good profile into the Star Weavers and the Void Weavers. They very easily bring this down. It's 1 missed save, and we are picking one of these up. I think they get to reroll their hit, they reroll their wounds, they reroll their damage against vehicles. They're very good at killing this profile specifically. Otherwise, our opponent ends up stuck in combat here with Yvrane's unit and Adrax, and the Troop Master and Vulcan up top just keep trading blows. We're just making 4-up invulnerable saves like it's our jobs right now. At the end of it all, we are able to bring down Adrax, the Lieutenant, and the last Blade Guard veteran, and the Vulcan up top with the Troop Master. We can leave this unit over here. It's not going to do much for the rest of the game, and we're just going to come pretty close to maxing out on our secondaries and our primaries. So we end up drawing Defend Stronghold and Area Denial. We'll get both of those. On the following turn, we'd get Engage on all fronts and Secure No Man's Land for another 10. We end up at 36 total points on our secondaries, and we max our primary as holding 1, 2, 3 objectives, regardless of what our opponent does, if we just decide to leave the board exactly where it is. So I really do believe Harlequin's best matchup is into a more traditional Space Marines list. I love seeing multiple Land Raiders or Repulsors, big, expensive vehicles on the table, because the Skyweavers just do so much work. 190 point unit being able to drop a 200 plus point unit with relative ease and then fire and fading out gives us a pretty distinct advantage. While they're not super great, those Skyweavers, into anything else, they're not irrelevant. Star Bolus are still pretty good in that big unit. Zephyr Glaives aren't so bad. As you can see in this game, the amount of move blocking they provide, the amount of decisions they put on our opponents, really changes the game. So I think we have a ton of strengths into more elite armies, especially Marines. One of the big things that they lack are invulnerable saves. A lot of expensive units, they're toughness 6, but they only have 3+ saves with no invulns. And that's exactly what we are efficient into. A lot of devastating wounds, grenades, the ability to just access a good number of 3 damage shots if we need to. With the Skyweavers as well. So I think we have a ton of strengths. We are out activating them. We have phenomenal anti-vehicle. We are really good into marine profiles in general, which is the amount of shuriken cannons and the Death Jester and the Solitaire. We are highly mobile. We're able to just position wherever we want on the board. Fights first and precision from your brains unit and the Solitaire make for a very, very tricky game. There was nowhere good for our opponents to fight with the Blade Guard vets. And there was really no escaping any portion of the board. If he kept him in his backfield the entire game, I don't know if they would have been any more effective than they would have where they were there. And also having those small base sizes makes it so that we can access combat really wherever we need to. Not playing on the 32 millimeters is pretty good. We do still have some weaknesses. It's pretty frustrating having to play against Overwatch on every single unit. If they do get into combat with us, they really could steamroll. If the aggressors were able to bring down, the Starweaver on the first turn and charge the Skyweavers the turn after that, and they brought him down in combat, they would have held that section of the board, and we would have had a very different game. I still would have sent Yvraine and her unit into the Blade Guard vets, and then we would have just been fighting for cover for the remainder of it, maybe using some Fire and Fade and Phantasm to just get us into more advantageous positions to engage those aggressors anyway. But the Flamestorm cannons on the whole, if they get into good range, if you can imagine our opponent steamrolling, they charge, they tag a bunch of units, the Flamestorm cannons are behind them, they get to overwatch anything that moves or try to respond afterwards. Salamanders could be very good. More specifically, I think the Land Raider Redeemers are very, very good. I just don't think they had a good place to play in a game like this. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope this gets you an idea on how to tackle some more traditional style armies. I do believe that Harlequins' best matchup is into the Marine or Chaos Space Marines profile, that and light infantry. Unfortunately for us, we are getting caught in the crossfire with Green Tide, with GSC, with Tyranids, and the new Chaos Cult. We're going to be seeing a lot of armies tech into the Horde, and because of that, we're going to have to start playing a little bit more cautiously. This game showed me a lot of things as far as Overwatch and what we could do and what we shouldn't do. Without the Overwatch threat, I think this game could have been very, very different. But I really appreciate you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Please comment. It means more than you possibly know, even if it's just for the algorithm. If we want to get this out there, we want to show people that Harlequins are no joke and that we are relevant. I would love to be a part of that. So again, thank you. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video under Pariah Nexus.